Hi, welcome to the Open Mind Show. Today my guest is Dr. Monica. Dr. Monica talks to animals, and I'm assuming they talk to her too. She has quite a story to tell. She's an author of many books and very, very popular and very successful in what she does. So I'm interested in what she has to say, and I'm sure you will be too. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, sure. I'm so glad you could make it. Yeah, so I'm always so intrigued. I have a limited ability to communicate with my animals. If they really want me to know something, it comes to me. But I'm really interested in how you came to do the work that you do.
I was born in Buenos Aires, Argentina.
Ah.
Buenos Aires is a very metropolitan city. And when I was growing up there, I was living in an apartment. At that time, animals were not allowed in apartment homes. And so I never had the opportunity to be around animals. But at the time that I was 8 years old, the whole family, there are several sisters, they all got together and they bought a summer home so that all the children could go and spend the summer in the home away from, the city and the small and have the opportunity to be in the sunlight. We were a lot of cousins. So the first year that we go to the summer home, we realized that right next to us there was a working farm.
Oh.
It's a small farm. People from Europe had emigrated, and they had cows for milk and chickens for eggs, and they were selling things. So they were so nice that one weekend they invited us over, all the children, to go in and take a look at the farm. My first remembrances of walking down an aisle where they had pig stalls, and these pigs were new mothers.
Oh.
So all the moms were feeding their children, or they were just about to give birth. And I remember the first time I'm looking at this mom feeding about 20 piglets, and she's talking to me, and I'm receiving information as if she's talking to me. And she's telling me things like, "This is so difficult."
I guess it would be.
I've been sitting in the same position for a long time. And then she looked at me straight in the eye and she said, "Can you help me?" And I'm stuck there because I don't know. First, I don't know if I should answer. Then I don't really understand how am I getting this information because her lips are not moving. And I'm struggling with this information. So as I'm doing this, my cousin, who is way up front, in their viewing, she turns to me and she says, "Well, Monica, hurry up, you're lagging behind." And I'm going, "Oh, she is so good. How can she do this so fast?" Because it's one right next to the other. So I do the best I can, and I go in each stall and I say, "I'll be right back, I'll be right back." Okay. So we get to the end, and I am thrilled because I'm getting all this information. But the tour continued, and I never had the opportunity to go back to the pigs. At the end of the tour, I'm sitting around with my cousins, and I'm saying, "Did you hear what the pig said? Did the dog tell you what happened yesterday?" And they look at me like I just came out of a ship, an alien ship. And I'm saying, "But no, really, I'm trying to convince them that what happened to me is true." And they're just not buying it, and they start telling me that I am crazy and something is really wrong with me. Now, you have to remember that when I was young, many years ago, in another country, things were very taboo. You didn't talk about these kinds of phenomenon. You just didn't. And so when they told me that I was crazy, I kind of believed them that something was really wrong with me. And then my oldest cousin turned to me and I said, "Wait a minute, I know. You're not crazy. You're just a witch."
Oh, God, no.
So I didn't want to be crazy, and I certainly did not want to be a witch. I was 8.
Oh, no.
I just wanted to be the same as everybody else. And so it occurred to me that the best thing that I could do was tell them that I was joking and not say anything anymore to anyone. So for the next 10 years of my life, I didn't say anything.
Oh,
But the problem was that it kept on happening.
you and Dr. Doolittle.
So I was basically walking down the street going, la, 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 la. It's like, I'm not listening, I'm not hearing anything, la, 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 la. Well, you can't walk around like that for the rest of your life. At some point, you have to either start believing in yourself or face up to the fact that you're different. So eventually, that's what I did. And when I said that to myself, and I believed that actually maybe I was different and I couldn't help it, I made a pact. And I said, well, okay, God, if you don't show me bad things that are about to happen, and you just show me how I can help, then I will put this gift to work for the animals that need me. So I made that my life assignment. And I made the commitment that no matter what, I was going to be there and give animals a voice. And that's what I have been doing.
And so when did you come to the United States from?
I was 18.
Okay. So just about the same time you made the commitment.
Just about the same time, yes. It took me a long time to actually put it into practice where I was comfortable enough to tell people that I didn't know what their animals were telling me, because it wasn't easy. I come from an old country where what other people think about you are more important than what you believe, that you believe in yourself.
Oh, yes.
So it was always a matter of all the skeptics and what the skeptics were saying and what I was feeling. So it took me a long time to finally decide that it didn't matter what the skeptics were saying, because I was helping so many animals. And it didn't matter what they think about me, because I knew I was doing something good. So right now that I'm older, it just doesn't matter at all.
Isn't that wonderful?
It's wonderful to grow older and rise up. It is.
I want to pick your brain a little bit. Can you remember some of the notable cases you've had where you've really been able to help, or maybe something that you found amusing?
One time I was doing an interview from Korea. And I don't speak Korean, but they had a translator. So they had a translator, they had the animal's owner, they had the animal's veterinarian there. This is unbeknownst to me, because all I'm doing it is over the phone. They had submitted a picture of the animal.
And what was the animal?
The animal was a Shi-Tzu. It was a 2-year Shi-Tzu that had babies. And the question was, why is she rejecting her babies? She had 4 babies. They were 5 days old. She wasn't allowing them to nurse. And I went in tune with her, which what I do is a form of telepathy. I call it picture telepathy, because I see pictures in front of me. And I'm telling over the phone to the owner that she didn't know those were her children. And I said, didn't she have a normal delivery? Because she has no idea these are her puppies. And through the translator, I was told that no, she had a C-section, because she was a very small mom, and they were afraid to lose her, so she had a C-section. And I said, well, she said they do not smell anything like her, and she just doesn't recognize the smell, and she's not going to feed them. So she rather have a stuffed toy that she thinks is her baby, which it was the case. She was pulling her stuffed toys under the sofa, hiding there with her stuffed toys and leaving the babies behind. So the vet was there. And through the translator, they tell me that he had cleaned the babies and put the babies in with her when she woke up. And that is something that any vet should know.
I was going to
absolutely do
say,
not
I mean,
do
wouldn't
that.
a vet have more sense than that?
Apparently it was a brand new vet. So that's what happened. They cleaned up the baby so much she wouldn't recognize her own placenta. You know, they need to eat it. It's just a process that the mothers go to that is very important.
Right.
So by the time she woke up, she had 4 little puppies there. She goes, you know, they're not mine. What's going on? So through my pictures to her, I told her that yes, these were indeed her babies and that they had made a mistake and that she should feed them because they were hers. And the stuffed toy was just a stuffed toy and she had no more babies inside. They wrote me back 2 days later, she started to feed them.
Oh, that's a wonderful
That
story.
is wonderful. And I never met them. I never even spoke directly to the owner, you know, or anything. They were in another country. So that is a really beautiful thing.
Yes.
Another story from someone from Japan. They called me up and they said, I think she said 9 cats. And one of my favorite cats, all of a sudden, from one day to the next, he started hissing and spitting and getting upset with all the other cats, and I want to know what's going on. I asked him why in pictures, and he said that he had a haircut, and he hated his haircut, and that he felt that he was very small, and he needed to puff up and tell all the other ones that he was still the same, and he was just so upset with the mother because he was shaved.
Oh my
and
goodness.
Indeed, he was, and he was upset, and he was not the same, and he felt that he was too small because he was a breed of cat that was very tiny. And so with the hair, he was huge. Without hair, he was really tiny.
Yeah, I never think about, but that makes sense to me now, but I never think about animals being aware of their appearance.
Very much so.
But I guess they would be.
They really are. They really are. I got a quick story. It just happened 2 months ago. I got visited by 2 Boston Terriers, and we had a great conversation. One was an older one was a younger one. And just as the owner was leaving, she said, you know, I want to ask him, how did he feel about taking pictures? And I communicated with him, and the way that she asked me the question, I thought that she took a few pictures of him and how does he feel about him, and he said, no. He said, I was posing. And I was like this, and I was like that, and I was looking up, and I was looking down. And I'm going, why is he telling me this? And so I asked the lady, well, did you take professional pictures of him? And she laughed, and she said, yes, I did. And he got his own calendar, and she went out and got me the 2009 Boston Terrier calendar, and he is right on the cover, and
So
he was posing.
He was posing.
He
for
knew
them.
it was an important picture.
You know, you can see this. I watch dog shows every once in a while on television. You can just see the pride that they have in.
Not only when they go around, but if they win.
Oh yeah.
Oh, they know they won. There is, you know, no doubt.
Right.
They
right.
know. They know.
So, is it mainly dogs and cats, or do you do other animals too, or birds, horses?
I do all kinds of pets. If any pet is at home living with a human, I do pets.
Goldfish.
They don't have much to say, but yes. And I have spoken, just to give you an idea, with a wallaby, which is a small
wallaby,
kangaroo.
yes.
Llamas, pigs, pot-belly pigs, sheep, all kinds of
sorts
little
of
small critters.
So any animal that has communication or connection with the humans.
Right, that need to say something
Need
to
to say
their human.
something.
Yes. Now, that is not to say that wild animals do not communicate. But even though I can communicate with them and they can tell me things, there is not much that I can ask them because their wild is what they want.
Right.
What they want to tell me instead of what I want to say to them.
Yeah, and they probably don't have the same challenges or problems.
Exactly, because they don't live with us.
Don't live with us.
We bring a lot of challenges
Yeah,
to their lives, yes.
Whereas dogs and cats have integrated with humans for so many thousands of years
Yes.
that it's difficult for them to live on their own.
Right, but they still have a lot of things that they want to do that for some reason the human parents do not want them to do.
I
And
know.
so they need to let us know.
Our little Ellie cat that you saw earlier, the little black and white, who's just a delight. She's an escape artist. You know, we have this huge screened-in patio back there. It's like 17 by 22. It's really large. So they get outdoor, but every time that front door is open, she bolts. And she's an adventurer and she's a climber, but she has no sense of direction.
If she goes,
she's been lost twice, and thanks to posters that we put up on trees and lampposts and things, we got her back twice. But she's just dyslexic and
has a little problem.
Has a little problem coming back home. So yeah, I'm sure if you talk to her, she would say, "I want to be free."
I'm sure, or at least I want to go on an adventure.
I want to explore,
right,
and so
there's
forth.
a lot of them that do.
So what are some of the common things that you find with difficulties between animals and their pets? Is there a common theme, or some things that are more prevalent than others?
There are things that are more prevalent than us. For instance, when we're talking about cats, one of the biggest that humans have is toilet.
Oh, yeah. Well, we're having a little problem with that with one of ours, too.
You see, and especially on multi-cat households, there's always that kind of a problem because it's a way for them to get to you and say, hey, something is not right and you better take care of it.
Yeah.
And some of them say, now. And I was telling you before that many times when I'm called in for problems like that, we really have to work together. The human and the animal need to work together. It's not up to me to say, listen, stop doing that, and they will stop. But I
tried.
Yeah, of course. But the animal wants something from you, and we have to figure out what it is, and we have to try to figure out if we can help it. For instance, if Ellie says, I want you to get rid of the other two, you're going to say, no, Ellie, I can't, because I love them just as much as I love you. So we have to figure out another way of handling her problem. But there are other times when what the animal wants is something doable. And it hurts me when a client tells me, well, I can't do that. For instance, many years ago, I had a very good client that had a small apartment. And he originally had the cat box in the guest bathroom. But in time, he needed to rent out his second bedroom, and the guest bathroom became part of the rental. So he needed to take his cat box out of there. Well, he decided to put it in an enclosed place, like a closet, that the door was to remain closed, and he would open the door, at certain times a day. Well, that wasn't working out for the cat, and the cat kept telling him over and over. It was a client that I had for many years, and every time I talked to her, she would complain about her cat box. I want my cat box out in an open area. I want it in the bathroom. If I can't have it in that bathroom, put it in his bathroom. No, I can't do that. And every time was a no. So she would mess up occasionally when she couldn't hold it. And he would get mad at her. And so those things worry me. So when I'm called in, I expect the owners to follow through, to do something. If we can't do it, we have to do something. Sometimes a cat will say, well, I want to do number 1 in one box, but I want to do number 2 in another box. And so the owner starts complaining to me, well, why? He already has one box. Why can't he do both? Well, I don't know why. This is what he tells
what
me.
he wants.
And this is another point that I need to make. I'm just a translator. I don't go out there trying to convince anyone.
You can't change the cat's
No.
mind if he's really...
I can tell them, this is what we are going to do. We are going to put one box in the bathroom, and we are going to put one box outside, or we're going to put another box in the garage, or whatever.
wherever.
I can try to be the intermediary, and try to convince both parties to meet somewhere in the middle. I can do that. And many times by doing that, we have had fantastic results, just from one day to the next. But both have to be willing to work. If neither of them wants to work, it's going to be back to square one. And
Right.
whatever I did is
Not gonna,
nothing.
yeah. Well, like I said, I have limited communication with animals. I mean, it works for me very well, but nothing as good as yours. When I communicated with Gabby, who was the one that was having our little pound rescue, who thinks she should be top cat, Queen, and Elmer, who's the 10-year-old, who thinks he should be top cat. When I communicated with them, it was about that. It was about the competition. And there's just nothing we can do about that. They're just going to have to work it out on their own.
Right.
And it seems that they have worked out a way where tension builds up, they fight, and then one is king or queen for a while. And she has seemingly stopped leaving me messages.
Good. That means she's taking care of that herself, and she doesn't need you to intercede for her.
Right.
That's good.
And then for a while, we have the feral cats outside. They would come up to the sliding glass doors, and one of the cats was marking the window.
Right. Get away.
Get away, get away, get
That's
away.
what they're saying.
And I guess they worked that out because he doesn't do that anymore. Thank
That's
goodness.
good.
But the way I communicate with animals is I get their emotions. I get how they're feeling,
Yes.
and some pictures. But sometimes I would like to have a little more detail.
People get information in different ways. I am lucky that I get it all. For instance, what happens to me is I either get a picture of a second in time, or I get a clip of a movie that lasts a few seconds and it tells me a story. Very much like if you go to the theaters and you get a preview of an upcoming movie. It lasts for quite a few seconds, but during the whole thing you get the whole story, you get the gist, you get the timing, you get the emotions, you get everything. Well, with the picture, whether it's a flat photograph or a moving picture, I get all the sensations, okay? So I get how they feel, I get what goes on in their head, I get what they hear, I get what they smell, I get what they taste, I get all the senses. It's a sensory picture, even if it is a photograph. There's only one drawback in all of these that I could see. And that is that neither the photograph nor the clip of the movie comes with dates. Dates.
Oh, dates.
Or a date stamp. So I don't know if this photograph happened yesterday or happened 10 years ago.
Well, they don't experience time the same way as my
No.
guess. Yeah, everything is now.
Everything is, or it was,
Or it was, right? Yeah.
or it is now, or I want it to be. And so I work very close to their humans, with their humans, so that first they can ask a specific question, and so we can place it in time.
Okay.
Okay, and then if they give me a picture without being prompted, then I need to figure out if this is something that they had before or something that they want. And it depends on what we were talking about. That I usually can figure it out, or with the help of the human, I would say something that I think he's saying he wants that, and they said, yeah, because we used to do it before, and I'm sure he wants it again. So it's a combination of past and future that they want.
Okay. Another thing came to mind. I know that animals are also very expressive, facially expressive, and body language. Do you teach or maybe coach animal caretakers in learning how to recognize certain things?
An owner that loves their animal is innately picking up clues from bodies.
Yes.
And that's why we look at an animal and we go, oh, he's not feeling very good today, because you pick it up. And so what I teach is to go with the intuition. Especially us women, we have a lot of intuition. We don't usually pay attention to our intuition. And it is our first thought and our first feeling, the one that is more important. Then when we go, oh, it's only me, maybe I feel tired and I'm projecting that into my animal, we
Just
start
go with the
thinking.
person,
Just go with it.
Right.
If something tells you that something is wrong, just go with it. And that's what I try to teach, and I try to incorporate the intuition into how we can better communicate with our animals. But I'll tell you something else. Communicating with your own animals, it is the most challenging thing there is. So we first have to start to build ourselves up and to know that we are in the right path and to learn what it is that we are receiving and how. We need to practice on somebody else's baby. Okay, and then we start seeing the pattern and we can start connecting with ours.
Yeah. Well, we're getting close to the end of time, but I want to talk about your books.
Yes.
So
I have written 5 different books.
and the first one is What Your Animals Tell Me. And this, through true stories, an animal communicator. I don't have my glasses on.
Reveals the fascinating and heartwarming inner world of our pets. This one has about 50 stories, and I tell stories from other animals' point of view. For instance, is their name important? How do they feel about love? How do they feel about being beautiful or not being beautiful?
How do they feel about being neutered?
I didn't talk about that, but some of the other stories do talk about that. So that one was the first one that I wrote. And after that, so many people started asking me questions based on some of the things that I say on my first book that I decided I was going to enlarge it and talk.
That's Feelings Too.
Right.
And that's the award?
Understanding your pet's physical, emotional, and spiritual needs. They all have specific needs that we need to tend to. And I separated them in categories so that people can understand why a behavior can go back in time and be an emotional problem that they had when they were puppies or kittens, and how we can go back in time and fix those.
That might explain why Gabby, who was our pound rescue, is a little more competitive than the others.
Absolutely.
Whereas Elmer we got when he was 6 weeks old, even too early to be away from his mother. And Ellie, we pet adoption when she was 4 months old, but Gabby was on the streets.
Well, animals create their character and personality from the time they're 3 weeks until they're 3 months old. So by 4, her personality was set.
Yeah.
And what is great about this second book is that I talk about a subject that very few people talk about, and that is reincarnation.
I was going to ask you about that.
Soulmates, and I am not just talking about soulmates, an animal with an animal, but a person, a human with their animal. And I talk about something that I coined energy imprinting, which is different from reincarnation, but it talks about how is it possible that an animal, being an older animal that was brought in right after an animal passed in the family, it takes on the same characteristics and personalities.
I have seen that happen.
As the old one. So that's what I explained and called energy imprinting.
That's very interesting. And if we had more time, I would love to go into that some more. Because I've had that happen. I think, what is
going on?
Is he being possessed by by the soul of his friend?
That's one of the questions that I answer, exactly.
Right. And then for pet's sake, do something.
For pet's sake, do something. I have book 1, book 2, and book 3. It started out being one book, but it was impossible to have it done as one. So I had to separate it in 3, and maybe I should have separated in 4 because this one is huge.
This one's thick.
It's like 400 pages long, and I call this particular one the New Pet Bible. Because it's everything that you ever wanted to know about alternative and complementary medicine for pets.
Oh, this is wonderful. I'm going to have to get these. Because I've not been really happy with the alternative medicine books that I found, but this I'm going to have to get these. And I don't think I held up this one. There we go. Well, and if people want to find out more about you, your website is?
My website is petcommunicator.com. I do consultations in person, by mail. by phone, by instant message,
Uh-huh.
any which way we can. Okay. The only problem is that I'm usually backlog 3 to 4 weeks.
Okay.
And they need to just send me an email, and we'll decide what day we can
Did you
do
want
it.
to mention your email here, or?
Sure. My email is Dr. Monica, altogether, DRMONICA at petcommunicator.com.
Oh, okay.
Very easy.
Well, thank you so much for being
My
here.
pleasure.
This has been just fascinating, and I love talking with you.
Thank you. Same
Maybe
here.
you can come back again sometime, and we can
I'll
go
be
into more of the
happy to.
details. Thank you. And thank you for watching. I thoroughly enjoyed this, and I'm sure you did too. And be sure to look at some of our other shows. We have a wide variety of topics and guests that we keep an open mind about. Thank you. See you next time.